Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily. On today's show, we discuss James Gunn and his future in the DCEU. Then we will debate if James would be a great DC Studios president. And in the final part of today's show, we discuss what's more profitable, a standalone DC cinematic universe or a connected one. So let's go. Peacemaker Amanda Waller spin-off update shared by James Gunn. James Gunn provides an update on the Peacemaker spin-off show for Amanda Waller, which was reported to be in development 1 month ago by Adam Benz of Screen Rant. James Gunn provides an update on the Peacemaker spin-off show for Amanda Waller, which was reported to be in development 1 month ago. The Oscar-winning actress Viola Davis made her DC Extended Universe debut as Amanda Waller, the ruthless leader of Task Force X in David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad. She was one of a few characters from that film to return this past year for Gunn's soft reboot sequel, The Suicide Squad, in addition to Harley Quinn's Margot Robbie, Rick Flag, Joel Kinnaman, and Captain Boomerang, Jay Courtney. Davis Amanda Waller also returned for an uncredited cameo appearance in the Suicide Squad spin-off series on HBO Max, Peacemaker, which follows John Cena's titular character, Christopher Smith, following the events of the film following the Peacemaker Season 1 finale and the show's Season 2 renewal. Another Suicide Squad spin-off series was reported to be in the works for HBO Max. This one centered on Waller. At the time, Davis was reportedly in talks to star and executively produce the project alongside Gunn, Peter Safran, and Watchmen 2019 writer Crystal Henry. Now Gunn has provided an update on the Amanda Waller spin-off show. During an interview with The Playlist, Gunn was asked about the series which he is reported to be involved in, and his response suggested that not all the details regarding the purported project are correct. Now there's a surprise, and I did predict this. Gunn did say he's working on numerous DC projects, including ones that feature characters from Peacemaker, though he did not specify whether or not Waller is one of them. Read what he said below. We haven't even announced any TV series yet. There's a lot of stories out there about what's happening, and some of them are accurate, some of them are not. I am working very seriously on another DC project where I'm very involved in the writing and the direction of it. There will be some blending of the characters from Peacemaker in the other show I'm working on, and I'm involved with a couple of other DC things too. So very interesting. In his recent comments, Gunn points out that the Amanda Waller spin-off show has not been announced by Warner Brothers, so nothing is official yet. The initial report clearly specified that Davis was only in talks to star and produce, and had not yet officially signed any deal, although it seemed like she was likely to do soon. Gunn's recent update suggests this prior reporting may have gotten some of the details wrong, though it's unclear which part. Gunn's update effectively throws cold water on the Amanda Waller spin-off for now. There is a chance he's being discreet due to DC secrecy, which prevents him from discussing the project before it is officially announced. Whatever the case may be, the Peacemaker spin-off show starring Davis is likely one of the many DC projects Gunn has in development, though it may be a while before he can safely discuss it. So this is what happens in modern day entertainment journalism. Actually, in all journalism, we have it with my own club, my beloved Manchester United. Everyone comes out with stuff because they want to be first. There's one thing that something is in development, then there's another thing about something being greenlit. There's another case in point in someone, in talks to do something, than someone actually going to do something. And this happens with DC a lot. Let's not forget, if this Amanda Waller thing is true, and there's probably some truth in it, all this stuff was greenlit by Toby Emmerich. Well, Toby Emmerich very soon will no longer be the chairman of Warner Brothers Pictures. Basically, we've gotten 2 new leads coming in from MGM to run Warner Brothers Pictures under the umbrella of Warner Brothers Discovery under the leadership of David Zaslav. So anything greenlit by Toby Emmerich isn't set in stone. James has spoken a lot about all this stuff he's doing and working on. But is it a sure thing? We know Peacemaker Season 2 apparently is a sure thing. It was announced. It was announced at the Warner Brothers Discovery up front. But at this moment in time, you can't trust this studio. There's a handover from old leadership to new leadership. So nothing right now is certain. And I was very suspicious about the Amanda Waller show from the very beginning. Again, I believe this was a leak from Toby Emmerich, hoping it would stick. And we're getting a lot of that right now. Even though Toby's leaving, he will get bonuses from any of this stuff that keeps out there that actually is greenlit by Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery. So at this moment in time, nothing James Gunn is developing is stamped, because you can't trust it, because David Zaslav is evaluating everything. James has also said he's very, very good friends with one of the guys, DeLuca, who's coming in to run Warner Brothers Pictures. But let's make this clear. Let's go back to what David Zaslav himself said to Toby Emmerich before he fired him. And yes, he did fire him, despite the complimentary things he said about him on the day he fired him. He said to him, "This is not show friends, this is show business. Let those words echo in your ears forever." James Gunn shares discouraging update on Suicide Squad 3. This basically confirms what I said earlier on. James Gunn has been a big name in superhero genre. He's the very man responsible for the Guardians of the Galaxy becoming household names, not to mention having given them 2 blockbusters to their name. After the director was the subject of a massive controversy, many thought his career to be over. Thankfully, that wasn't the case, and his break from Marvel led to a nice surprise, The Suicide Squad. While the first attempt in the franchise fell flat on its face, Gunn's most recent interpretation landed well with audiences and critics alike. In fact, it even spawned an immensely popular streaming series named Peacemaker after the success it gained in theatres and on HBO Max. Let's be clear, it was successful on HBO Max, but not in theatres. That's modern day journalism for you boys and girls, and however you identify as, you're all welcome here. But what are the odds that fans will get a proper sequel to last year's movie? Sadly, according to the director himself, the odds don't seem great. Thankfully, it's not all bad news. In an interview with The Playlist, the Suicide Squad and the Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn talked about what may be next for him after Guardians Volume 3 is in the bag. So, has Gunn truly talked about doing a proper sequel to The Suicide Squad? The director confirmed how they've talked about it, but that he just has so many hours in a day to work on stuff. Yeah, we've talked about it, but the honest truth is I just have so many hours in a day to work on stuff, and I had such fun time working in television that I really think that's what I'm going to spend the next year of my life doing. Translation: The Suicide Squad didn't do well in cinemas, so I'm going to take my platform to the streaming service because Peacemaker worked. You've always got to translate these things. That's not me shit-talking James. I like James, but I'm just making the point. The director continued, confirming that he doesn't even know what his next movie will be. It could end up being a property outside of both Marvel and DC Comics. I'm thinking about what that next movie will be, and is that next movie going to be it? First of all, it could be something completely different than the world of DC, and I'm excited about Mike DeLuca coming in to Warner Brothers, frankly, because I've known him for a long time, and I love Toby Emmerich, but I've also known DeLuca. He's been a friend of mine for many, many years. As I said earlier, let's not forget this is under the umbrella of Warner Brothers Discovery, and the motto of Zaslav is not show friends, show business. So him knowing DeLuca is irrelevant. Gunn suggested that a third Suicide Squad movie is far from guaranteed in the near future, indicating that his next DC movie that has to do with these characters wouldn't necessarily even be a direct sequel to the Suicide Squad. This is interesting. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, because it could be a movie outside of DC, but it could be a DC movie that has to do with these characters. Does that mean it's the Suicide Squad movie or something else that's within that world, or a little bit different than that? And that I'm not exactly sure. It was recently revealed that an Amanda Waller series, we've been through this already, so I think that's it for us. So he says again, I'm working very seriously on another DC project where I'm very involved in the writing and the direction. We've already read that as well. So, what is going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on, everyone. It's what I've been telling you has been going on for months, and you don't believe me. Everything is in flux. James himself doesn't actually know what's going on, because he's a very direct, honest guy. He doesn't really lie. I know a lot of showrunners and creatives lie to their audience, but mainly he's very honest and direct. And what I love the most about this guy is his communication skills, like Kevin Feige. That's a good thing for anyone to run a franchise or to make his or her own films. You want that communication and you want them to be likable. I think if he had a proper, genuine update, he would tell us. The guy simply doesn't know. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't even know if he still gets to work on these DC projects. Don't forget, the Suicide Squad didn't do well in cinemas. I don't think that Zaslav is going to be in a hurry to greenlight a Suicide Squad 2. Well, it will be a Suicide Squad 3, because the Suicide Squad was the second movie, a sequel, right? But anyway, it's clear that the Suicide Squad IP doesn't necessarily guarantee, $700 to $1 billion global box office. So I think it's very unlikely that James gets to do his sequel and his story on the big screen. So he kind of done a mini sequel to the Suicide Squad, which was Peacemaker. Very, very good. He may continue to do that. But at this moment in time, nothing is for sure. James may be given the keys to DC on streaming, or he may not get anything at all. He may get a bunch of DC movies, he may not get anything at all. Now, the Walter Hamada and James Gunn plan was this: that at the end of Black Adam, trailer tomorrow for Black Adam, very excited. At the end of Black Adam in its post-credit scene, I forgot her name now, but the character played by James Gunn's wife and Task Force X abduct Black Adam. I've said this many a times. I don't know how you abduct a superpowered 7-foot shit brick house, but there you go. So the idea was that he gets abducted, they need him against a big threat, and that will be the next story. Whether or not they still get to tell these stories, your guess is as good as mine. I simply don't know. So right now, like everybody else, James Gunn's got to sit there and wonder if he's got a future at WB and DC. You would imagine he's got a huge future. People like him, like his content. He's already said he wants to continue to work in television and streaming, and I think for now, that's where his future lies. Now, let's ask the question, would James Gunn make a great DC Studios president? Well, let's look at the positives. First of all, he's a great storyteller. He can write bright, encouraging, and also dark, compelling stories. He could thread story arcs like Kevin Feige does himself. As I've already mentioned, he's a great communicator with the fans. Most fans and geeks and nerds actually like him. Not everyone, the Snyderverse fans, a lot of them hate him. But basically, I think Snyderverse fans hate anyone apart from Zack Snyder. I'm a Snyder fan, but I like lots of creatives like James Gunn. So he could do the job. Now, he's gone on record saying he doesn't want to do that type of thing. I respect that. But if I was David Zaslav, he would certainly be on my list, along with Bruce Timm and many, many other people. And finally today, what's more financially viable? A standalone DC cinematic universe, or one with, continuity in it, an extended, expansive universe that basically each film knocks on to the other. So what would make more money? a standalone cinematic universe, or one that's got connective tissue. So let's look at this, right? With a standalone universe, you don't have to watch everything. For example, if there's an Amanda Waller show, we don't know if that's even happening anymore, or if it even was going to happen, I can say, nah, don't want to watch that. I know what they're going to do. It's all going to be about identity politics. Up yours, not going to watch that. Oh, Superman movie, Cavill's back, gonna watch that. Oh, Christian Bale's returning as Batman, and Christopher Nolan's gonna direct it. I'll watch the shit out of that. Not saying that's happening, by the way. With a standalone universe, I can take or leave anything I want. So, potentially, let's say each standalone movie in a new universe makes $1 billion. That's great. But here's the thing that people don't understand. With a connected universe, you and I feel we have to watch it all or we're missing out, so we don't want to miss out. With the MCU, I watch everything and you watch everything, even though you're not that supportive of certain kind of pieces of content and characters from Marvel Comics, you feel you have to watch it. Miss Marvel wasn't made for me, but I'm going to watch it. America Chavez, you know, in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, not a character that I think, yay, but I was going to watch that film, right? First of all, I would always watch a Doctor Strange film, but you get what I mean. Some characters weren't made for us older people, right? But we're going to watch the whole thing. That's why a connective universe with connected strands has more financial viability. And you know, David Zaslav understands it, and this is what makes Kevin Feige such a genius. He created a situation where you have to watch every episode, every movie, every streaming show, even if you think it's going to be underwhelming, and a lot of it can be very underwhelming. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and to understand it all, you have to watch it all, and that's the point. So there is more financial viability in an extended, continued universe rather than a standalone universe. Now, from a filmmaker's standpoint, it's better to be standalone because you don't have to worry about the continuity. You don't have to worry about post-credit scenes. You ain't got the head of DC Studios or Marvel Studios saying to you, right, do what you want, but put this in and put that in. This is what a showrunner, this is what Russell T Davies would say to another writer on Doctor Who, right? It's your episode, do what you want with it, but I want this strand in it and that strand in it, right? That's what happens because basically Kevin Feige is a showrunner like Russell T Davies. So even though there's not that exact independence to do whatever you want with an extended universe, it makes more money. And this is why I believe we are heading for a brand new DC live action cinematic universe, and that excites me a great deal. There are no guarantees. Whoever runs it, James Gunn, Bruce Timm, even Kevin Feige himself, it's a huge challenge to make a DC live action universe successful. This has been the DCEU Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. I am beautiful from a certain angle, aren't I? Don't answer that. Until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.